This is what you need to know about local schools. Let's spill the tea. Jen, every time buyers, and I'm showing them a neighborhood, showing them a house, the first thing they ask about are the schools. They want to know the scores. They want to know how that impacts the community. They want to know all about the schools for that community.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard when I get asked that question, because I get asked that question too. And my response typically is that it's a hard question to answer from my perspective, because one person's opinion can be different from another. It could be based on percentages of college admittance. It could be school, scores, stats. It could. There's so many different things. Parent opinion is also factored in and weighted differently when you're going to research. What school is the best school? That's what people want to know. So it's just a very hard question to answer. So what do we usually do?
So for my buyers, there's several different websites that I will refer them to. There's greatschools.org. There's Carolina School Hub. There's several others. And so I will always tell my buyers, and if they're are sensitive about, a particular criteria, they want to be in a school that has super high test scores, and graduation rates, that's to go to these different websites to check that out. But, I think it's good to know that those different resources, they're going to have different rating criteria. So you might see different scores. It might be a little confusing and a little frustrating. So it's why it's so important to cross-reference all those different websites. And of course, always get other parent opinions about the quality of the school. So
exactly.
Websites are super important.
And there are three main categories of schools in our area. In the general area, there's three main categories of schools. The three main categories are public, charter, and private. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the differences between them. Those are the options. With public schools, simply put, it's a government education system designed to serve members in a designated area. So that's basically what it is. It's free. Okay. It's neighborhood schools. If you live in one community, you have a set of elementary, middle, and high schools that you will be assigned to if you decide to live in that particular community, and it's free. Your charter school, but there are some other subcategories in public schools.
That's true. So you've got your magnet programs. You've got the International Baccalaureate program through the public school. So the great thing with the public schools is that you do have different options within that public school resource, which is good if you're wanting something that's a little more specific. Some of those magnet schools include like language. They introduce 5-6 different languages. Which is really cool. And then you've got your charter schools, which are also, they're public, but they're usually on a lottery. So you do have a choice of your charter school. They tend to have smaller classrooms in public schools. They are lottery driven. So sometimes you might not be guaranteed that spot if you choose to go into a charter school. They have a strong academic reputation. But there's no, like I said, there's no guarantee of admission. And usually one of the other downsides about charter schools is that transportation sometimes is not provided. It's up to the parent. Yeah.
But again, smaller classrooms, they have a good reputation. You just have to weigh the pros and cons on what's important to you as far as the charter schools.
And food, the cafeteria. There's that's another charter schools. Not all of them have cafeterias. So, but that might be, if you're a parent who wants to, send your kid off with a good, healthy meal, that might be perfect. That might be just fine.
Yeah. And some charter schools do have them, some don't.
Yes.
It just depends on the one you choose.
Yeah.
Private schools are just like what it says. It's private. They are tuition based. And they're based on not so much a lottery, but interview process. You have to put your application in. They have the right to pick and choose based on certain factors that they're evaluating. They have smaller classroom sizes. They may not have the extracurricular that public and charter schools have. So again, different schools. You just have to decide on what option is best for you.
I was surprised. I saw this, that there are 49 school options, between the public, charter, and private, and also pre-K programs, but 49.
That's a lot.
Just in Huntersville, like in our, that local area. So, so many options.
Yeah, and
I know that I have, like the big talk, and I remember, this too with like charter, right? Because you get sometimes so close, and but there's so much competition. There's so many people that get into the lottery, that it can be tough and discouraging sometimes. Fortunately, though, there's not only are there a ton of options, but there are great schools.
Really, they're good
within
schools
the area,
and just need to do your research on which one is best for you. But there are some factors on how schools impact the value of homes.
Yeah.
And that's where the tea is, everyone. Like Barrie, it's tough. I mean, we get asked that question, why do some neighborhoods, same house, same size, sometimes the same builder, one in Huntersville might be more expensive than the other? Why is that?
It has everything to do with the school rating, right? And how the school is performing. It's supply and demand. And I would, so families who care about that, who have kids that are going to go into the school, and want their kids to be in a good performing school, those neighborhoods, it's supply and demand.
Yep.
It's going to drive the price up. So, sometimes you're not going to get as great of a house, but it's in this neighborhood where the schools are excellent. And provided that you're always zoned in those excellent schools, that when you go to sell that house, there's still going to be that continued buyer demand.
Yeah.
When you go to sell that house. It is important to think about, school scores, whether you have kids or not, because it does impact the property values. And so, I've had clients that are like, well, my kids are in charter, my kids are in private.
We don't care about this.
We don't care about the. We don't care about the schools.
You should.
And you should, because unless many people don't plan to live in their house forever. The average time frame that people sell their house is every 5 to 7 years. And so if at the time that your kids are graduating high school, that you're ready to sell that house, thinking about the next people that are going to come in. To that largest buyer audience is going to include families who do care about the school choice, but it's also going to include buyers who have educated agents like Jen and I.
That's right.
Who are going to coach them that resale is going to help protect your property value. So
that is true.
Yeah, buying in a good neighborhood
reputable
with a good
school system,
good score is important to property value.
So if you are thinking about moving to the Huntersville area and schools are important to you and you want a deeper dive into this subject, please give us a call.
Yeah.
We are the experts in the area. We can help guide you on finding the right school for you and provide you with those resources. So be sure you give us a call. Make sure you subscribe and go to our website, frpremierproperties.com, and we will see you next time.
See ya.